Hello and welcome everybody to the week 2 of the West Division here in NECC Fall 2023. My name is Alkbattery. I'm joined all the way across the pond by Roodood. We've got a rare combo here
Yes,
to joining you tonight. Rood, how are you feeling? I know that we had some question marks before we got on.
yeah, a little under the weather, so if I'm a little slow to picking up, I'm probably blowing my nose, but that's okay. The broadcast is going to be big chilling. We're going to have a lot of fun. Got two great
Yeah.
colleges playing League of Legends. They're starting at 11 p.m. EST. Kudos to them for starting at this late stage, but I'm all for it.
Yeah, they're playing 11 p.m. EST, and we're in the West Division, so we're
They're
chilling.
kind
We're
of
big
good.
chilling. It's
Yeah.
it's 8 o'clock p.m. here on the West Coast. We're hanging out, but yeah, it's week 2, so we're very early on into the season. We don't have big favorites, big standouts, but there's just a lot of games going on. You already saw early on in the schedule that there were a bunch of 2-0s already on the stream today. We're kind of maybe hoping we get to 3, but either way, both of these two teams are kind of looking to try to build that roster, build the rest of their season as we go into the West.
Yeah, and heading, or at least the sort of notices from week number one, Cardinal started out their split 0-1 with an 0-2. Flip side, Florida, for Alaska Fairbanks, they were able to find themselves a 2-0. So different ends of the week one spectrum, but of course, sample size is very small. We don't know how these two teams are going to stack up against one another. Could very easily go into the end of today with both of these teams at a one-on-one record.
And we've got a new patch. We've got
Woo!
1320 coming in,
Do
so
we
we
want to
got a lot of
celebrate that?
champions. I'm not a jungler, so I can celebrate this patch. This patch is great. Jinx got buffed. We nerfed jungle. We made jungle very easy. It's chill. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, I'm waiting to get onto Summoner's Rift because if you've not seen just yet or not played any League yourselves, there may be a couple of literal visual bugs which are through no fault of really anybody, but the
Yeah.
the client itself is in a little bit of a tumultuous state right now. We'll get to experience those wonders as we head onto the Rift. But yeah, 1320, the post World patch, so we're now one further. We're going to be ahead of the World's meta, cultivating for any games to happen in future patches.
Yeah, we've obviously got the rest of this tournament to go through. There's also just a bunch of other amateur tournaments that are going on here in Tier 3 and Tier 2 playing around collegiate. And it's just good for collegiate teams to be getting a lot of preparation just because you think of the normal or the natural CLOL competition, and that is going for spring. You're kind of sitting there in summer and you're like, okay, we're playing until about June, August.
Mm.
And then there's not much in fall. There's like a collegiate cup that kind of happens in fall, but not a ton of teams tend to participate. And giving these teams who here in the challengers division, which is typically around like emerald to diamond, this is a there needs to be tournaments for all skill brackets. I believe that wholeheartedly, and I'm really glad that there's a space for that here.
Yeah, so the development that you can get always powerful. I mean, we're no strangers to an off season, right? Fall typically quite a time
Yes.
for us as well. Getting the opportunity to come on here and flex a little bit of our vocal muscles as well, certainly very powerful, very enjoyable as well. And I think that with is it Route 66 LAN happening in the not too distant
Yes.
future? That's going to be at least potentially a big look up to for some of these players, potentially if they are looking at a potential collegiate career, that type of tournament is something they can aspire to do, and it's these types of grassroots foundational leagues that are making that possible and giving the players for that.
Remember these names, guys. If you're watching these
Yes,
players, remember these names. Maybe in a couple years, you'll see them playing up in either Challengers League or in a really big CLOL tournament. Who knows? Let's take a look at our rosters, however, as we go on over. We're taking a look at UAF, the University of Alaska Fairbanks. We've got Jackie364, 100 Ping Warrior, Blue Valentine, Trapple, and I Like Bread. Now, this team was a lot of fun to kind of go through as we'll get to our other roster as well because there are a lot of players who share roles we have a bunch of subs as well. So really coming in, me and Rude were kind of question mark pinging like who are we going to see today? And I think we're going to do a lot of learning alongside the rest of the broadcast.
Yeah, and then of course on the flip side we have got CSUDH or California State University Dominguez Hills, SRN Junior in the top lane. Little Asia Jungle, Stelly, Nano Ben 56, and Bandai rounding out the roster again. Like you say, Alex, so much shared pools between a lot of these players in
Yeah.
terms of roles, and then as well, we got at least week one sample size for drafts. I'm expecting some not quote quote meta that you'll see at Worlds, but definitely the NECC meta champions may very well start to rear their heads.
Well, guess what? Kaisa got nerfed on this patch.
No.
Quote. She got nerfed. She didn't get nerfed. She got like a -5 base armor. Taking a look, we already had a little bit of an update. I think, if I'm correct, the mid laner for CSUDH is... Okay, it is the same. All right, so I got bamboozled. I got owned. That's my bad. So, yeah, I mean, when we're talking about the new patch, we're talking about the internal metas that kind of start to come up in NECC, right? Where when we're looking at these teams, we only have a couple of games. Both of these two teams both had 2-game series last week. And so, in terms of drafts, there's still a lot to be discovered. There's still a lot to be explored. And especially when there is such a new patch, there is a lot of players who tend to either reach for comfort or maybe try something a little bit different.
Yeah, I'm hoping to see a lot of comfort picked. Up against CSUDH, they did get Yasuo, Ashe, and Talon banned away from them in all 3 games. Now, already, we started out on, at the very least, a similar trend with the Talon ban to begin with, and wouldn't be surprised if that was to be the focus. The other option here is 100 Ping Warrior is their highest ranked player, so if you're looking at this from a Alaska Fairfax perspective, you may just go, let's target that strong player and get them as weak as possible.
Well, look, they're already kind of putting a few eggs into those baskets, right? We are seeing the Riven, which is one of Jackie's most played in solo queue. Aurelia, something that we've been seeing from Blue Valentine, and more along some of those lines you were talking about. I think as these bans, the first couple of bans as we get through, like the Talent, like the Hecarim, all feel very targeted and maybe a little less so, meta-specific or in kind of overall very strong champions.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of banning away these duelist champions if you think they're going to be a terror, because as much as people may meme on the top lane role, genuinely there's nothing scarier than a fed bruiser fighter style champion coming out of top lane 6-0. Just look at Worlds yesterday, right? Adam tore it up on the Darius. So that type of thing, getting it out of my games, I am all for.
Well, we're also AD carry main, so top laners can come out of lane like 0-4 and we die anyway, so we're big chilling on that front. We're taking a look. We're finally finished on the first round of bans, and so now it is up to the side of UAF to figure out what they want for the first pick. We've been seeing this a little bit in their games last week for the side of California State University. They have been a very big proponent of the Swain first pick, and now being taken away, this feels like a pseudo 7th ban coming in. You're taking away something that they had huge prio on.
They've done their research, right? They've looked it up. They've gone, okay, we saw double first picks for Swain. Why don't we leave them the little bait open and we'll take the Swain for ourselves? Now, Swain, a champion that is, generally speaking, much better versus short-range compositions, so we'll have to see if that's adapted to from the red side.
And I think you can kind of see that from their bans just last week on the side of California State. They had a lot of Swain, like we were talking about. They had a Belveth, a Zed. There's some Silas mixed in there as well as a Viego. So if we're talking about short-range compositions, I think Swain could work very, very well. And now we have the Ashe and Rakan. Ashe being a very big pick coming out from the side of California State.
And now they get to see sort of what AD carry you try and match the Ashe with. I'm not a great fan of laning against Ashes. It's been my permaban for the last couple of patches, particularly with the Rakan as well. There's a lot of setup there. So whatever AD carry gets picked down on that bot side, it needs a cleanse. On the flip side, though, a great fan of locking Jarvan versus a mobile AD carry. So again, these teams answering one another. Ashe fairly long range to try and deal with the Swain, but the Jarvan a great answer to deal with the Ashe as well.
Man, Jarvan has been super surprising. I mean, there was a couple patches after the whole Maokai and Sejuani fiasco that we had for a couple months there, and Jarvan has kind of started to slip into those ranks. We're also starting to see the stuff like the Belveth, which did get changed this patch, and I like what we're seeing so far from the side of UAF. Compositionally speaking, they have a very good team as long as fights go long. You have such good engage with the Jarvan, and Sona Swain is a terrifying duo to try to deal with.
Looking for more consistent damage now then from Dominguez Hills, because Ashe is great. Ashe actually does fairly decent consistent damage, but you need a couple of items to get there. But as you've mentioned, versus the Swain, the Sona, the sustain that these two offer, I don't think that the consistent DPS of an Ashe is going to be enough. Looking at something in the mid lane, in the realm of Cassiopeia, that type of mage that can deal consistent damage and deal with what is going to be a very, very powerful team fighting composition.
I would like to see what the focus is for our top lane. I know we talked about it a little bit at the beginning of draft, but both of these guys love to play the bruisers, love to get into those fighter classes like the Aurelias we were mentioning earlier that we see in the bans. So let's talk about it. Like, we already see the Yasuo ban, something that has been taken away prior. What other top laners are we kind of looking for? Because right now there is some good damage on both sides, but I'm looking for some of that setup. I'm looking for who is going to be the one to be able to throw that first punch, and when you have consistent, reliable CC, something that isn't like a Rakan or a Sona in this instance, it can get a little bit difficult to start fights.
It certainly can, and then you've got two options. If you want to stick to that fighter class in the top side, look no further than everybody's favourite crocodile, the Renekton. Still
Yes.
open, still unbanned in this game. If you're looking for something to be a bit more consistent and start those fights, Ornn, still on the table. You've got things like Sion as well if you just want a brick wall to try and challenge UAF and see what they've got to throw up against you. A couple of options still available for both of these sides as we're looking for, I believe, top lane and mid lane still. So the solo lane is here for Dominguez Hills, and they take the Syndra. So I was asking for consistent DPS. I'm quite happy with the Syndra because as much as she may be more burst oriented, the level of burst is just way too high once you get to the late game.
Yes, like level 15 to 18 for this champion is just not fun to play with. And immediately answered, I was wondering how much of this are we going to kind of go into this small niche that we've been trying to burrow into, and now a Veigar picked as a response. It is very difficult for the side of UAF to actually walk for, or for the side of Dominguez Hills to actually walk forward into this team. There's a Veigar, there's going to be Jarvan waiting in the wings. Now we need to see what this last pick is, something that'll tie this all together. They are lacking a lot of physical damage, and they've got the Darius now, so I think we're just getting all-out brawls. There is no such thing as trying to kite. We are just fighting front to back every time.
Absolutely, and they've got the nice sustain coming through from the soda, hopefully to top them all off. I do worry for how easy it's going to be for I Like Bread to keep 100 Ping Warrior and Jackie topped off. Is there the Darius and the Jarvan are likely going to be fairly far away. Blind Darius into the top side though is going to hopefully be countered, and got taken here. Generally a very good answer to the majority of melee matchups. So Junior now has a big sort of pressure on their shoulders, I think, to make this top lane matchup work for them, because the Darius versus Urgot matchup is very volatile. You get one kill going one way, and that can very quickly snowball the matchup itself.
Yeah, and now I want to see how we're going to kind of set up these team fights, right? Because we're looking at the side of Dominguez Hills. They've got some answers. Me personally, I feel a little bit like I'm thrown for a loop when I see this Urgot. Yes, the lane matchup can do generally fine, but once you get out of lane, I think Urgot has a very interesting and much different dynamic to how other top laners are going to function. So when we look at this team, Root, what are we feeling? Because to me, this feels like you get one kill and then you have to reset, or you're waiting for your cooldowns to come back up.
Yeah, it is definitely a cooldown focused composition. For me, I like that versus a composition which we've sort of focused on being very heavy on sustain. You're going to have to use rounds of cooldowns to get through them, and if you can burst one target before they get sustained, you reset for 5, 6, maybe 7 seconds, you wait for those basic abilities to come back up, and then you can rinse and repeat, you can recycle, and yes, you may be fighting without some ultimates, but you'll be fighting a 4 versus 5, and that's typically when you're going to have an advantage, right? When you've got more numbers, that typically looks, or that typically is when your compositions are going to feel a little bit better.
Yeah, and hey, we're all back. We're going to be waiting for that delay as we get into this game. Real quickly, I did want to touch a little bit on the side of UAF. We talked about how this was going to be a team composition that thematically does like to work together. The Sona is going to work very well with like a Darius and a Jarvan, but one of those critical members falls, and maybe this all kind of falls apart for the side of Alaska Fairbanks. How are we feeling, Rude? I mean, both of these teams kind of have something that is going to be a little bit more interesting. It's definitely a lot different than what either of us would kind of expect from our different leagues that we cover. So, I mean, first of all, I'm getting a Sona game, which never happens. That's the first thing. And I get to see Urgot in the year 2023.
The thing to talk about, I guess, when you've got these niche picks is what do they do well and what do they do not so well. Whenever I see Sona in my games, I know that I am taking the biggest backseat. I am chilling for the first 15 to 20 minutes because this champion is a caster creep. It does nothing. It is very, very weak through the early stages of the game, though. Once you've reached that tier, once you've reached Moonstone, Shurelya's, whichever item you're going to end up going for, and that tier is stacked up, a lot better, a lot more powerful for those team fights. By extension, we're then looking at Dominguez Hills going, all right, You have this bot side of the map, which we're expecting to be fairly weak. Pre-level 6, I also think Swain, very, very cooldown reliant as well. So you're relying very heavily on that pull. See if you can get any trades going through that way. Ashra Khan, though, level 1, they're good to go. Ash's passive is one of the most broken passes for a level 1 engagement.
True.
And that exists through to level 5s, level 6s before the ultimate starts to come online. It's not like the Dominguez Hills bot lane gets weak at level 6 either, just certainly that fight becomes a little bit closer, let's say.
Yeah, for sure. And we've also got just so many different things, right? We've got farming, we've got late game insurance for both teams, so it's not like we're going to get to 25 minutes and be like, all right, guys, hands off the keyboard.
Now, yeah.
The game just ends immediately. There's no other respite. We got a lot of interesting things. Taking a look, I mean, we've got a lot of stuff to kind of talk about just because, hey, we've got this delay. We've got to deal with, the new patch as well. Reed, have you actually read the new patch? Because I know that is always a struggle for us. Actually reading the patch is a little different.
You know what the good thing is that I have the League client up right now, and I have patch notes right in front of me if I wanted to. None of these champions, it looks like that are being played, actually got buffed or nerfed, so we've been given a pass for this round. The good news. But I do want to I think the most important aspect of the 13-20 patch wasn't necessarily 20 champions, right? It was to the jungle getting, as you sort of highlighted, a little bit, well, we can say gutted, I think, right?
Yeah, I mean, they nerfed all the smites. They made it so that laners are individually much stronger. They made certain buffs like a lot stronger to deal with, like Baron. Dragon buffs are also still they've been nerfed, but I think in general, like Dragon is still too OP. Right? Yes, so you really want to try to get to the soul, which, the game has been a little dragon-centric for a couple of years now, guys. I don't want to say anything, but I don't know if this was quite the fix that we thought it was.
Nevertheless, the powers that be have decided that Dragon Soul is where we need to put more of a emphasis. I think we've been fairly snowbally in recent patches, right? So
yeah,
Soul making it a little stronger. I'm not too sure how we feel about it.
I mean, for me anyway, right, like, it's snowballing less in the sense that, hey, the individual dragons themselves are not as strong. That's cool, but once you've finished the soul and you've gotten all the objectives, then it's like, alright, you deserve to win the game at this point.
Alk, we have a red alert. We have a red alert.
What happened? What's happening? Where am I looking?
Forgotten a jungle item.
Oh! Wait.
We have Croc in the NECC, everybody.
We're bringing the CV LoL English straight to you here in North America.
Come on, man.
You love to see it. Hey, he's the one that did it. You're the one that brought it. Look, he's recalling. He's getting his wards. Malaysia, buy the item. There we go. We've got the Mistwalker, which these are 2 jungle items that did get nerfed on this patch. So missing the movement or the tenacity and the slow resist on the Moss Stomper, and for the Riftwalker, you are gonna have a little bit less movement speed coming out of brushes. So hey. Happens.
That is a big Fiddle nerf as well.
Yes, especially for Fiddle, who loves being in Fog of War. And I think, actually, we didn't talk about this too much, but the Fiddle itself is interesting. It's something that not a lot of people are going to be playing in most skill brackets across the board. And for a team to set up for it, you definitely need to have really strong vision. So I'm interested to see what Dominguez Hills can kind of pull out of this, because even if it's a bad game, even if they end up losing the game, just having that Fiddle in your back pocket, I think, is a very, very good pick.
They're a very powerful tool, for sure, and it is sort of that dichotomy between the two teams, right? We highlighted that for UAF, their bot lane is going to be fairly weak early on, and the bot lane is going to be fairly aggressive on Dominguez Hill's side. On the flip side, you look at the junglers for both of these two teams, it is the complete opposite, Alaska Fairbanks have got a Jarvan to try and really snowball the early game.
Wow.
Wow, yeah. And the Fiddlesticks is going to probably do the exact opposite.
And look at where they're pathing right now, right? 100 Tripping Warrior moving on towards that top side. We talked about how maybe this Darius was going to be more important to this roster as we get further into the game. And on the opposite side, Little Asia pathing down towards the bottom side. Now with no flash here for Trapple, I don't know how much actual action is going to occur of this, but I like how aggressively the CSU is playing from their bot lane. They know as soon as they got level 2, we're going to try and force a flash. We had a massive mini wave stack as well, so need to be very interested to see where these two, because Jarvan, he's that guy in the early game. You do not want to be playing against Jarvan. Level 2, level 3, this champion has like an insane kit.
Exactly, and I think that pairing it up as well with a Vigar, typically in that mid lane, your mid jungle pairing is something that's so powerful. Vigar, a fairly weak early laning champion, but when he's got that cage and when you've got the follow up and honestly the raw damages that come from a Jarvan, there's a lot of fear that I would have for CSU as they go through these first few levels in the game. Certainly need to make sure that that top side of the rift is definitely more cautious than anything else. Junglers just wrapping up their full clears though. Now is when we get to see if they're going to get active on the map or if we see quick older resetter Roodood.
Oh, here we go. Bandai just constantly looking for something with the grand entrance, just getting some small chip damage. I like how they're keeping the wave in a really cool spot in the middle. They don't know where the enemy jungle is, and I think their vision is a little bit shallow. I wanted to say, Rude, I am getting tripped up because of this Fiddlesticks champion. So when he puts down his effigy, it just has his champion icon there. And Fiddle, you know, his play pattern is I stand still and I do things. And I just, you know, I hit the heel. There's a lot of damage. Gets flipped under the turret. Jackie, both of them are just going to be blowing the flash. Jarvan is here, and there's a wave coming. So Junior, without the flash, needs to be able to survive. Jungler's on the opposite side of the map, so he's all by himself. Looks like he might be trying to get that recall. Little Asia trying to do something, but look at what NanoBen is able to do with this ass passive. We said this was OP. It's going to turn into a First Blood going over to Dominguez Hills.
Really nice cross-map play there. They may not have known that the Jarvan was on the bot side, but the pressure that was exerted from Jackie calls 100 ping warrior up there, and down on that bot side, Little Asia making the presence felt early on. Remember that flash was burned very early by Bandai at that level 2 spike. So unfortunately, Trapple just has no way out. Really well executed play for Dominguez Hills, and they get themselves the first kill of the game.
And this is something we can even talk about for summoner spells, right? We see that both of our marksmen, both of our bot laners have gone for the Ghost, which for Ashe is not super, you know, non-typical, but for a Swain, typically the choices are either going to be going Ghost or for Teleport, and now we're kind of feeling the effects of that, not able to get away from the Ashe, not able to get much done in that bottom lane, and we've seen Ashe be a very big presence for the side of Dominguez Hills, so now we're starting to see their bottom lane get ahead. Fiddlesticks even was able to get a, get an assist as well as finish boots here, which is very big for this champion.
Yeah, that's your big takeaway for the Fiddlesticks in that early game. Try and get those tier 2 boots as much as we, take a quick meme, Fiddlesticks wants to stand still. Getting to those camps faster is very, very powerful. And of course, as much as movement speed is the prevailing stat of a boot, the magic pen that comes from the Sorcerer's Shoes going to go very hard in the early stages of the game as well before champions have got all of that MR stacked up.
Yeah, also Fiddlesticks just has like really dumb high base damage. Like this champion's just not okay. Like there's no reason for the fear and the ultimate to deal that much damage. It's pretty ridiculous. I love Fiddle as much as the next guy, but I really need to see this champ. As an AD carry player, it's my literal worst nightmare to see this champion come over the wall.
That's true. Honestly, I'll agree with that one. Alk, we've been in game for 6 minutes. We've been on the list for about 10. I think it's about time we started feuding.
Okay.
What myth or what new quiver item do you think that NanoBen will go for this game? We may have to hold it though. I'm looking at the river and there's some dangerous things going on.
Stelly, level 6, should just be able to flash over the wall. Oh, just barely. And if he flashes over, there's a Darius waiting in the wings. Not going to even use the summoner spell. Blue Valentine is just going to use the Event Horizon. They're going to find the kill, and it's going to turn into the First Blood going over to UAF.
Alright, so I like the fact then, in fact, that Stelly holds flash there. Make sure that, they've got that for a future gang. Maybe could have used it earlier and got back to the turret. Nevertheless, we are going to see Junior now in trouble also.
Okay, well, there's also ultimates for both of our top laners, so we gotta keep a lookout. Junior now, no mana. He's just trying to burst away. They're trying to auto, but there's really nothing for Junior to be able to do. It's gonna be the last breath for him. 2 kills now over to UAF, and that top side is still stacking, still finding advantages.
Fairly close, though, in this early game. Kills traded back and forth. It really is a battle of top side versus bot side. 100 ping warrior finding leads in both of the solo lanes, but this bot side of the rift really beginning to snowball for Dominguez Hills. They've got a nice CS lead for NanoBen, also taken that dragon in favour of the Fiddlesticks, so a lot of advantages going to both sides, and we're going to get to see those two combined, hopefully within the fairly near future.
Yeah, we've got the Rift Herald spawning in a few, and I think we would love to see for the side of Alaska Fairbanks to actually kind of use that advantage and turn that into an objective, because typically when we're talking about getting these gold leads and finding experience leads, you want to be able to turn those into tangible advantages. Maybe it's a turret. Maybe it's more summoner spells taken away from your opponents. You can actually have more access to do stuff. And we're seeing right now 100 Ping Warrior trying to find action through the top side of the jungle, but no one is really there. So damage onto Stelly, maybe they're able to find a little bit more, but not being there for that Rift Herald. Wait a minute, Stelly just gets a solo kill. We thought it was an engage. Call the ambulance for someone else. Now, Trapple's walking forward. The Never Move is just getting ready. And it is just going to be an ultimate. It's going to be the Demonic Ascension to clear the wave, to push them off. Nanoben, level 5, also has the Ghost as well running. It's going to be a small trade, but this wave is pushing away from them. Their jungler's on the opposite side, or is now pathing towards them, but is nowhere near. Bit of a weird circumstance, especially for 100 Ping Warrior, we were looking for them to try to start up into that top side.
So it's surprising here that as well on the bot side of the Rift that Trapple actually hit 6 first. We've been talking about the advantage that had sort of gone the way of this Dominguez Hills bot side of the map, and level 6 coming through for the Swain. Fortunately enough for Dominguez, not able to find anything, and now another skirmish on this top side.
Oh, Little Asia's here though, and should have been spotted on this ward. He's gonna ult right over the wall. It's gonna be a fear. It's gonna be another death going over to CSU, and now they're losing out on some of that topside matchup. They're also going to be able to grab the Rift Herald. So in terms of neutral objectives, I mean, Dominguez Hills, they've gotten the first Dragon. They're going to be able to start up this first Herald. They have kind of saved some of this top lane matchup, and you're still losing on that bottom side. A little worrisome here for Alaska Fairbanks.
And the other part of Ashe that, honestly, I always forget because it doesn't matter to me in solo queue, but maybe the most OP ability in competitive League of Legends, the Hawk Shot, spots out 100 Ping Warrior.
Wait a minute now, he's stuck in the cage. This is the matchup that we had talked about, right? When you have the Vagar, I might have to hold this though. Little Asia, he took a little too long to actually get it. It's 1,000, it's 900, it's 30 HP, and it's gonna go over to the side of Alaska Fairbanks. So in a few moments, I think UAF have found a lot in terms of an advantage.
Yeah, disaster strikes there for Dominguez Hills. They thought that, you know, great play down on the bot side, one on the top side as well. They stay safe in bot lane, find the kill top side, but Junior there, not quite giving the resources back to the jungle that Little Asia would have needed to secure that Herald. And 100 Ping Warrior, despite getting spotted down on that bot side, makes a nice little rotation play from mid lane into the Herald and actually gets 2 for 1. Now 2-0 on this Vigar in the mid lane. We talked about the fact that it's a fairly slow champion to come online, but giving 2 kills early on would be a very good way to succeed.
And this is a bit of a weird spot we find ourselves in, right? Because we saw the beginning of the lanes, right, where Jackie, he's taking it to Junior. Junior gets put down a little bit. There's, again, Asterius who's starting to find resources. But, hey, Fiddlesticks is farming. Fiddlesticks is starting to get those levels. Little Asia is level 6. Jarvan is level 8. This guy's almost level 9, and from there, it's just getting more closer and closer to, like, a second point in that ultimate, and there's so much that Jarvan can do as he gets further and further along, especially with some of the Jarvan builds that have been getting cooked up with, like, Gore Drinker and the Spear of Shojin, so I think we're in a bit of a weird predicament here if you are the side of Dominguez Hills.
I'll agree with that one. I think that Jarvan, just a bit too strong maybe, if I were to TLDR what you've just said.
Sure.
And I'm quite happy with how this game honestly has been going, right? We came into this game with UAF having won their first game 2-0, for Dominguez Hills 0-2 in their first week, but both of these teams absolutely giving what for in this early game.
Oh, the Ashe ultimate, it actually hits my fridge back behind me, and a flash from Blue Valentine means that he's going to be able to survive. Now, Junior misses out on the flip. Can Jackie find the kill? We saw that these 2 top laners, there we go, flashes right back in, and he gets the dunk. So he's going to miss out on this whole next wave top lane. But you look on the bottom side of the map, they're trying to find something. These 2 teams are battling as the Dragon is going to be spawning in 30 seconds. Moving over a ward, 100 Ping Warrior, you're by yourself, but Little Asia has no resistances whatsoever. And there we go, Stelly. Okay, that is an insane Gore Drinker proc. Little Asia, gonna flash right over it, and this champion is just surviving for so long. I Like Bread is able to get in. They find this kill. It is going to be so much gold going over to UAF. Don't know if the Jarvan's going to be able to start up this Dragon, but you're feeling really good if you're on blue side.
Well, this is one of the Rift Heralds of all time. Trying to see if that can find a charge in the mid lane. Certainly going to be a task for Shelly. Now a potential gank on the bot side as well. Remember, Cataclysm still available.
Oh my god, can he do it? Also, still has the Gore Drinker, so if they need to, they can get into the backline. Trapple, Flashes, Demonic Ascension, Ghost. Never Move is next. Not able to find NanoBen, but it just doesn't matter. They found the support instead. Bandai is going to go down, and it's going to turn into another kill here for Alaska Fairbanks.
Yeah, they see your Drake trade, Alk, and they raise you a kill in the bot lane instead. 100 ping warrior getting that Jarvan early game fully off to the races. Unfortunately, second Fiddlesticks ulti for Little Asian, not quite able to find the success that you would like. And you mentioned it earlier, that power farming of the Jarvan, the early Gore Drinker, saving 100 ping warrior at least twice in that skirmish that we got to see, once in the river, once in the bot lane as well. Now we get to see if the potential tempo play gives a dragon opportunity for Little Asia to take this mountain. That'll be quite difficult because there's already a few bodies lurking around that pit.
All right, Rude. We skipped on it about when us being able to actually beef on the broadcast. Yep. We had a lot of action. It was neither of our faults, but we do need to actually get to this. So, the mythic that we think NanoBen is going to go for. That is a great question. I'm just going to say I really hope it's Infinity Edge. I know the memes for Ashe, but crit is still super strong. The slow is good. It's chill. Like, you could go for Navori. I don't know. I think Navori is kind of
Unfortunately, sir, you are cooking in the wrong kitchen. It is either Rageblade or Trinity Force. There is not a single critical cloak being built.
Trinity Force is... Dude, Trinity Force is cringe. Now, I will say, I love building that item. However, I've built it too many times. I want to go back to my crit days. I want to play crit champions again. And, Entrepreneur Warrior... We've seen this time and time again. Some very questionable engages. No one is nearby, but finally they're able to grab that kill. How much more can they get done? A grand entrance into Swiftness wraps around the back line, but it just doesn't seem like they have enough Trapple. Kind of getting kited out at this point. I mean, Junior's here. NanoBen's trying to get down damage, but we talked about it for the side of Dominguez Hills. It is all about that slow ability. It's all about their first punch that they throw in a fight. And for UAF, they were waiting, but they don't really have a lot of that damage, especially when this Darius is not there.
Yeah, so UAF, whilst they don't come out on top of kills, they actually loot or get first turret on that top side. So this Darius is going to continue to snowball away with this top lead. Little Asia now still has ulti, runs right into the Darius.
Oh, there's a little question mark, Ping. You got the Ghost. That's a pretty big win, but now Junior's got to be careful. I mean, this is already a stride breaker being done for the side of Jackie, and the amount of movement speed that this champion can get is really ridiculous. And I mean, Junior's just really afraid. Doesn't have ultimate, doesn't have flash. The teleport's down as well. He knows that his jungler is on the opposite side of the map, and can't really do all that much. So now we got the dragon being started. Trapple's looking for it. It lands another double never move. It seems like that focus on a NanoBen is where they're going to find their first kill in this fight. It turns into a dragon. It turns into a couple more kills. They've now killed Little Asia and Bandai. And Stelly, walking into no man's land, I don't know where you're going. I think you're taking a one-way trip to the L train. And now UAF, they've gotten 4 kills. They've gotten the dragon. They're going to be able to open up mid if they want to. This game is kind of getting out of hand very fast.
Yeah, the difference in top roams, very palpable. The last fight around the dragon, we got to see Junior roam down, and Dominguez Hills, they got a 3 for 2. They got kills in their favor, but it was still fairly close, and they couldn't get the dragon off the back of it. UAF this time round, they pull their top laner down. Jackie makes that roam from topside, and it's a clean 4 for 0, plus the dragon as well. Gold lead in the last couple of minutes has now exploded, 4,000 in favor of Alaska Fairbanks. Started to take turrets mid, got one top already, and this bot lane one, on its last legs, a TP from Stelly needed to save it.
Okay, we are now in a very interesting predicament, because we had talked about how both teams have some champions that are going to take a little bit of time to scale. They're going to wait for a lot of their big item spikes, but now we're in the situation, for the side of Alaska Fairbanks, your Jarvan is pretty far ahead for what we consider, especially when we're talking about the mid and jungle. Okay, wait, Stelly's just finding the solo kill here at this point. Demonic Ascension doesn't matter. You're going to straight up demote back into the gray screen. Sally's going to find that kill, and it opens up a little bit for the bottom side, but in real terms, what does this get for Dominguez Hills? Because it's gold for your Syndra, but look at where the rest of the map is right now. You just use your TP, and the Rift Heralds just spawned.
I do think that UAF are actually quite far behind where they want to be right now. I'm 90% sure that 100 Ping Warrior is sat on what we call Rafa money.
Maybe. There we go. The Ash ultimate. The fear now landing for Little Asia. They're trying to find this kill. Jackie is trying to get that first execute, and he gets it up against Junior. Now we've got the Event Horizon falling. We've got Little Asia going down next, and it just feels like a repeat of more and more we've been seeing around Darius. It is a triple kill here for Jackie, and now they're going to be able to start up the Rift Herald as well.
Well, the job may well be with much bank, but Jackie has spent as much as they needed to turn that play in their favour. 3 kills on the top side turns nicely into this second Herald, with waves pushing in all the right directions. They're able to also catch that bot side one, so Trapple might well have been solo killed, but is it going to lose the turret for it? And of course, those pity prizes now fully unlocked for Dominguez Hills, and they'd have loved to have got that turret for themselves, but let's be, they couldn't do it.
Well, Root, I did want to give you a little bit of a pointer. It's only Rafa money if you die with like 2,500 or 3,000 gold, and you just die with it. You have to be able to die with it. It's very close to being that, and unfortunately, if you don't get that, you know, just think, hey, I died with basically an item's worth in my inventory, and just decided not to back because
we can give the context.
Yeah. So our you know, Rafa, friend of the broadcast, he likes to power clear a lot. He likes to take all the camps, and then he says, cool, I have 2,100 gold. I'm going to keep farming. No, I'm going to gank bot, and oh, you know, my camps just respawn, so I don't want to lose efficiency, so might as well just do my camps again, and then, you know, we find another gank.
Can we find
my
this
camps
Herald,
are back up. Yeah, can we go for Herald? And then 5 to 6 minutes pass, and he goes, oh, I have like 4,800 gold. It's like, maybe we should have backed. Maybe we should have backed. If you win, then it's super chat, because you're just that guy. But if you're not, you get stuff like this, where unfortunately just not able to find that pick, and it might be a turn for UAF. Get a bunch of flashes. It's now the ultimate here for Little Asia. The fear is landing. They get that first kill onto I Like Bread.
No,
Jackie has now ghosted into this fight. It is damage onto Nanoben. You have Blue Valentine coming in from the other side, and it is just a complete domination for the side of Alaska Fairbanks. They're not even able to find much of a reprieve. Dominguez Hills, they're going to keep on falling. It's going to be a mid-turret with the Rift Herald up next, and the Baron has just spawned. Their pick of the litter in terms of options.
That was a fight of nightmares for Dominguez Hills. The Darius barely even got a reset, right? I think there was 2 in the back there, but the Noxian Guillotine wasn't even needed for the first couple. 100 Ping Warrior once again baiting out these engages, and we were saying that the Dominguez Hills composition is going to thrive when they can pick off somebody like the Sona before the fight. They got that ideal situation. I Like Bread wasn't even a part of that re-engage. Unfortunately, there may be a bit of a wallet diff as we head into what is now Baron time for UAF.
I was going to say, you killed Sona, and then I pressed tab, and
Good reflexes.
Everybody on the broadcast, we're going to keep that as a secret. No one else saw that. But Blue Valentine, your secret is safe with us on the broadcast. So anybody that's in Twitch chat and you saw that flash, no, you didn't. Pretend it didn't happen. We got dragons spawning in a couple of seconds. Now, these players haven't actually, UAF have not actually been able to recall all of their gold, so sitting on a little bit of that gold that we were talking about earlier in terms of being able to actually turn that into an item. But you look at what they have 2 stopwatches still available to them. Jackie is already came back out onto the map, has that stairs gauge, and is getting very close to a death stance. Now we got to start finding picks just like this. Trapple uses the ghost. Misses. Okay, so now we're using Demonic Ascension, buying a lot of time while his team actually goes and grabs the dragon. And it's going to be up to the side of Dominguez Hills. They need to call their shot, call the bluff of UAF, say, stand firm, grab this mid-turret. It's going to be an objective bounty going over to them, and now they need to be able to escape. Good flash coming out from 100 Ping Warrior. Don't know how much more, but you see already Jackie getting onto the backside. Great scatter of the week coming from Stelly. And is that Little Asia? Can we see that ultimate start to tear apart the backline? Nano, though, he's getting caught out, and it is a tale that we have seen for the last 22 minutes. The Darius has arrived, Root. The Darius is taking over this fight. Doesn't even have to look at the Recon kill. That one's just going to go their side regardless. And it is going to be another 4 kill. This is deja vu. I've been in this place before. I Like Bread is dead. And then almost all of Dominguez Hills is gone.
Incredible. And again, all of these fights look so good for Dominguez Hills. That fight specifically, Little Asia got the Dream Fiddlesticks ult he was channeling across all 4 members, got multiple man fear, and just weren't quite able to convert it into a win. Jackie had a beautiful flying angle, came round the back and take out everybody really from Dominguez Hills. Now Junior also
Grapple, what
out.
are we cooking? Oh, then every move actually lands. Now Little Asia's here, Bandai as well. I just feel like you just don't have enough of a wallet to be able to get away with plays like these. Now you're getting, again, routed, amazing ultimate coming out from 100 Ping Warrior to lock down the entirety of Dominguez Hills, and they just never find a fight as all 5. I don't think we've seen an ace throughout this game. It has always been 4 members trying to find something. The scatter of the week, I mean, it just doesn't quite land this time. Stelly, unfortunately, not able to find it. It is just going to be another knockup. It's going to be that first ace they were talking about. And this time is Blue Valentine who's going to be holding the gray screen down of UAF, but they've now got an inhibitor. They can recall. The Baron is still up. We were talking about that wall of diff. It is straight up a different tax bracket.
Yeah, it's not looking good, unfortunately, for Dominguez Hills. And, you know, you said it in the name, right? Stelly's using Scatter of the Week. If there's one word I'm using to describe 100 Ping Warrior this game, it is absolutely not weak. 27 out of 29 kill participation. This player has been absolutely everywhere on the Rift. Knows exactly what is up in these team fights as well. And continuing to power clear, by the way, the most farm on his team.
Yeah, most farm, almost in the game. We're talking about our 2 solo laners here from Dominguez Hills. You're doing a good job at that, but why does this champion get to have so much ability haste, get to have like 4,000 HP? I'm getting close to the Kassan team. I gotta be really careful about this one. Champion just got reworked, okay? All of his abilities got changed and stuff, and look.
Well, Kassan is dead. We need a new copy paster, right?
True. True. Jarvan, the new Jarvan build, if you haven't already been playing it, it's been popular for a couple months. Make sure you're out there playing it. Gore Drinker, Spear of Shojin, Frozen Heart. Get every single item that gets ability haste. Champion's just OP. Turns out when you can flag and drag every 3 seconds, Champion's pretty good.
Yeah, knockups on a 3-second cooldown tend to be my jam. Shout out to Cho'Gath when you build full ability haste with them. Definitely much harder to land.
Maybe. Okay. We're just getting a fight now. Little Asia in the middle of their own jungle thinking this was supposed to be a safe space for me. This was supposed to be my spot to be able to farm my camps. And right now, the entirety of Alaska Fairbanks, and more specifically Jackie, is saying, yeah, I don't care about that. I'm going to just take all your camps. I'm going to take these kills for myself as well. And now we're going to look to try to take your Nexus. NanoBen, no mana, no HP, no team at this point. You're getting very close. This game is just straight up over.
NanoBen was fighting for his life versus the super minions that were pouring into the base. Unfortunately, didn't come out on top, and it's probably going to go down here too.
Okay, NanoBen, 07 salute as a marksman to you. It's been great. It's been good. I don't know if it's been both of those things in this game. It's going to be a first win here for the side of Alaska Fairbanks, and a rather dominant one at that.
Yeah, it looked good, honestly. The first 10-15 minutes, I'll say, we were going steady. Both these 2 teams had a very real chance at trying to take a win there. But once there was maybe a triple kill topside around a Rift Herald, the game just completely ended. Jackie got 3 kills, the game ended. It was over, unfortunately. And again, credit to 100 Ping Warrior. We sort of highlighted the highest ranked player, at least on this UAF roster. Certainly was able to get about the map, helped his solo lanes. And I do think that when Jackie got the ball rolling, as much as they were the one getting all the kills, it's important to highlight that the Jarvan was the one making those plays work.
Yeah, we saw those 2 really start to link up. Obviously, I think the 2 big points of criticism for both of our junglers here, 100 Ping Warrior, I think just kind of sending it a lot. Even if they're alone, they're just like, I'm going to do it. I'm strong enough. I believe that I'm that guy. Still ends up falling, but hey. And that Rift Herald play that we saw, where Little Asia is trying to take the Rift Herald by himself. He's like, okay, I don't really care. We just kill top lane. I don't need to. The Jarvan's not going to come. They're just going to respect it. 100 Ping Warrior says, yeah, no, man. I'm not going to let that slide. I'm going to take that personally. Yeah, I take that and I took that personally. So, we'll see a lot of changes. Obviously, we're going to be heading into games soon, so make sure that you stay here, you stay tuned in. We're going to take a break, and when we're back, Game 2 of this series will be right up. Hey, and welcome back to NEC Fall 2023. We have got another game. We've got potentially the end of the series here if we see the side of Alaska Fairbanks go ahead and close out the series. But we're still in the West Division, and we are still at least one game away. My name is Alkbattery. I'm joined by Roodood. Rood, we had a very, very one-sided game on the first for the first one on the show.
You know, I'm going to challenge you. We had a very, very one-sided mid to late game. I still remain that early game could have gone and like led into the game going a different direction.
Sure.
Once the snowball happened, yeah, credit to Alaska Fairbanks, they absolutely took that game home. But that wasn't to say that they didn't have their struggles in the early game. They did get first blooded down on that bot side. They struggled a little bit when it came to those early game neutral objectives. But, like you say, once that snowball started rolling, and they got a couple kills on that top side, Jackie, 100 Ping Warrior, that dynamic duo in the top side, kind of ran away with the game.
They were very, very strong, and unfortunately for the side of California State University, Dominguez Hills, they had nothing they could do about it at a certain point. They were just like, we're trying to stop Jarvan from jumping on top of us. I'm a little fiddlesticks. You cannot,
Yes.
I can't do anything.
Picking 3 immobile champions into a Jarvan or having 3 immobile champions versus a Jarvan just feels absolutely atrocious.
Yep. And it seems like with side select, they have gone ahead and decided for the side of Dominguez Hills, we're going to stay on that red side. We're going to say, game 1, we had some execution errors. Our draft we felt was pretty strong. There might be some changes, but so far, I think if there were some things that we wanted to change, Rude, what are we looking at?
So I would be looking toward getting rid of that Jarvan, to be honest with you. It's
Okay.
not just because there was a stellar performance, it was also that it's a very, very powerful champion. I wouldn't be surprised to see that Jarvan taken away if that's, a possibility. Alternatives are picking champions with a bit more mobility. It does make the Jarvan much harder to execute. So there's a couple different options that are open to Dominguez Hills.
Sure. And honestly, I mean, you are on red side this time, so if you want to try and get counterpick, that is something you can try to do. But
Oh, the
Jarvan just
R5
has
jungle counterpick. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, look, Jarvan just has such a robust kit. It is a reason why he is almost universally always pretty strong. He just does that thing, and he does it every single game, and he's done that for like 8 years now. So like, the champion is just good, and the kit is just strong enough. We're already starting to see that now targeted away. So now they have to drop one of their 3 bans that we saw in the last game, which were Riven, Irelia, and Akali. So now we have to start thinking, is the Akali the one that kind of gets dropped? I think it's something that definitely requires a higher level of execution, but if Jackie's going to be the one to play it, there could be a lot more solo kills once we hit that level 6.
Alternatively, Dimitri, we could be looking at the fabled B1 Riven, if that is not banned here.
Ooh.
So my eyes turn to the potential of many a Riven one trick in that top side, and they do get denied. So Akali, the open pick, not typically, as you say, the champion that you want to take on first rotation. They took Swain last game. Wouldn't be surprised to see that again. Remember that Dominguez Hills took Swain both games in their series last week, so this isn't just a good pickup for Trapple down on the bot side, it's also a great denial away from Dominguez Hills.
Okay, now what is their answer? Last time around, we saw it was the Ashe and the Rakan that they were trying to go for on the opposite side for the side of Dominguez Hills. They could try to go again with this. I think that Ashe, while she does have a lot of great setup, what I do want to see from the side of Dominguez Hills is maybe a little bit more firepower, right? I think that they were obviously lacking damage, and it's one thing to say I'm behind on damage because we are 7,000 gold down. It's another thing to say, like, we just didn't have a lot of that same burst potential as maybe something like, obviously I think Samira is not going to be picked in this angle, but like something that adds a little bit more to the team and doesn't require such a long amount of time to really start to ramp up.
And whilst we, highlight, of course, that there's some changes that can be made to Dominguez Hills' composition, they have opted into this Ashe Rakan. I don't think that was the particular problem for the bot side. It's also worth noting that for UAF here, this Swain is a very flexible pick as well. Doesn't have to go to that bot side. Can be played top, mid, even support as well. There's a lot of options open to this Swain pick and does give them a high amount of flexibility.
Oh my god, the Jarvan's banned, and we're given 100 Ping Warrior. Now, our focus coming into this match was going to be looking at our jungler, was going to be looking at 100 Ping Warrior as one of the highest ranked in this series alone. And so now, Hey, he's just been given full reins at this point. You got a Kha'Zix, you're going to be jumping into that back line. We need to see what the tools are going to be from the side of Dominguez Hills, just because if you can't deal with the Kha'Zix and you're not able to just immediately stop him either mid-air or right as he comes out of invisibility, this champion will run away with the game. We've already seen that on Jarvan from 100 Ping Warrior.
Okay, and we do get to see that Bel'Veth locked in. We mentioned last game that none of the champions changed in 1320. We're in that game. This time round, though, that is a different situation. Bel'Veth receiving quite a few nerfs here in this patch. Damage reduction off of the E, notably, is a lot smaller. Bonus attack speed from the passive as well taken down a notch. So certainly a weaker champion than it was maybe 24 hours ago, but still certainly one that has its very, very special place in the League of Legends jungle.
Who cares about that? They made it so that her E can now critically strike, which I didn't think was not a
miss
thing.
That out, Dimitri.
I wanted to see that because I've been building Kraken Slayer on this champion for forever. This champion is a reset champion through and through. You should be trying to play to basically your outer limits, similar to something like a Viego. So, like, the fact that it couldn't crit before, I'm just going to be real, kind of cringe. So, now we're in the second...
That's a good thing.
No, this champion... I like this champion. I like playing Bel'Veth. Bel'Veth is just so, like, quirky. She has, like, such different... I just like the Q. I think the
you
Q
really
is
hope she wins
cool.
as well, yeah?
I hope she wins. She's just as smart as... whatever. So, we've got the second phase of bans here. Zed being something we actually saw last week in a couple of Dominguez Hills games, and then the Malphite, something that they also picked up. So, showing a lot of respect, showing that, yet again, like we said in the first game, these two teams are doing their homework on each other, and... they're going for a very interesting composition. We said that last game was going to be a very short-ranged kind of team comp. This time, again, they've gone for the Bel'Veth, and now the Mordekaiser on top.
Okay, I have an important note here for
Dominguez
Hills. Every single game that they have played so far, Ashe, Talon, and Yasuo are 100% presence. One of those champions you will notice is notably missing currently and slots quite nicely into their 5th position. A very real Yasuo angle here for the mid laner Stelly if they want it. Now, the same solo lanes get ran back here by UAF. Certainly looked very good in that first game and honestly does make Yasuo's life quite difficult when you're playing up against a Darius, a Veigar as well. Getting caught in that cage can be quite difficult, but just wanted to highlight that before we see what Stelly takes.
Yeah, it could be Yasuo. Yone's been a terror, especially, so would have to be an interesting look. Stelly going again for the Syndra, so a lot of Merc Treads value, I think, coming out just in general for the side of Alaska Fairbanks, but they didn't have to change too much. UAF staying with 4 out of the 5 champs that we saw, so compositionally and thematically speaking, this team should operate very similarly, but a Jarvan to a Kha'Zix is a very big change.
A lot less early game power, if we put it that way. The time it will take for 100 Ping Warrior to get online, we're expecting to be much longer. Also, just clears less efficiently than a Jarvan. It's a lot more difficult to stay high HP to find those ganks successfully through the early game on the Kha'Zix. And then, you look on the other side for Dominguez Hills as well. They've got 3 out of 5. They've got largely a similar composition as well. But importantly, that jungle role has, again, slightly altered. I think that Bel'Veth's ganking power earlier on is much more empowered than a Fiddlesticks, but still clears almost as fast, in my opinion.
Yeah, they've made it so that the jungle camps actually scale to level 18, and they will get a large amount of HP, but they've also made it so that the AoE smite actually deals, like, all of the damage of the smite, so you can actually clear AoE camps. You no longer have to be, like, the really cringe Lee Sin player who builds Tiamat for no reason. And that'll be interesting to see. I don't think 100 Ping Warrior is going to have a lot of issues clearing camps because he was clearing champions last game. And if you have a Kha'Zix now instead of a Jarvan, you've got a lot more lethality available to you. But we're seeing I'm going to be honest, Rude. This Dominguez Hills draft is not inspiring a lot of hope, a lot of confidence. This does not spark joy.
Looking at it. Okay, well, I've not been studying up on my top lane matchups, but I have seen Mordekaiser's body Darius in the past. Now, that being said, I'd also seen Urgot's body Darius in the past as well. That obviously didn't end up coming to fruition. Couple of external factors as well, maybe 1 or 2 ganks on the junglers that swung that matchup one way or the other. I do quite like the damage profile, though, that we get to see from Dominguez Hills this time around. They've got that double AP, double AD, and yes, they had that last game, but it was not spread between the jungle and the mid lane specifically. That's one of those that you're always looking at. That Merc Treads value went really crazy last game. They aren't going to have that same option super early on and have the same level of immense value on the Kha'Zix, because if you go Merc Treads versus Velveth, she just laughs at you and kills you with all the AD damage, right? A very different style that we're going to get to see. Have you been doing your top lane research?
I did my top lane research.
Okay.
I hit up that Lolytics fast. What do you think Darius's win rate is versus Mordekaiser? Now, this is on the patch. This is Emerald Plus, and it's only 300 games. So I will go to... It is 55%.
Oh, the exact opposite.
I will go to 319, so we have a little bit more data. All right. Do you think it's changed much from 319 to 1320?
I say 54% on 319.
You're correct. It's 54% with like 6,000 games. This matchup sucks. I would have told you this. Mordekaiser really wants to abuse his his passive, the big AoE he has. And Darius is like, I don't care, man. I get a BF sword with my passive, dog.
So what I'm hearing is I've been watching too many Brazilian Mordekaisers that bomb Darius's.
Yes.
And that's my issue. All right, well, nevertheless.
Well, I mean, if you're talking about Brazil, I thought you were going to be more excited about potentially like a Belveth support. I know Axeman loses.
Any Belveth mention, instantly support. But honestly, in Worlds, there was such a Belveth support angle, and they didn't take it, and I was fuming. Anyway.
Good. That champion sucks. It's almost as bad as B1 Talia. And with that, we're going to start beefing Rude. We didn't get to do too much in the last game, and we are still in a delay. We are just waiting for a champion select to be the spectator delay to finish so we can get into game. So during this time, me and Rude are going to be starting some beef. Rude, I misinterpreted your last beef. So I'm gonna throw the ball over to you. It's in your court. Let's get to arguing.
So me and Alkbattery have been long-known AD carry players, and we play occasionally a bot lane duo together. And every single game, I hear Alkbattery say, "Is this a Stormraiser game?" And I lose my mind until this patch. Okay, until this patch, I've been slightly converted, but until this patch, that item was garbage, straight.
It was
trash.
Garbage,
and you would still say to me, Is this a Stormraiser game?
This is not true. This is not true. I think this is the sickness getting to you right now, because I would only do this in the last patch and a half. Yes, production said, look, if you're in Twitch chat and you want to get active with us, how about this? Twitch chat, let's do a Stormraiser versus
Kraken Slayer.
Kraken Slayer. I'm going to say it blindly. You can headcanon whatever champion. If you want to be like, well, I play Vayne every game because I'm rude, dude. I'm going to build Kraken Slayer. Go ahead, man. You can... That counts as a vote. I don't really care. Just pick Stormraiser versus Kraken, and I'll probably go back through the VOD and we'll see what happens. We'll see who the real victor is.
Okay, so slightly less red alert this time. This is more like an amber to probably Luke green alert. We have got Trapple, who's forgotten potions, heading into this laning phase. Now, up against an Ashe early on, could be quite difficult, but again, just to put that out there, we're struggling with the shop. Boris is definitely diffing on occasion.
Boris is clapping us right now. Yeah. It's so funny because there's so many times when you're playing normals, you're playing ranked with your homies, you're just sitting there, someone presses tab, everyone's quiet, or you're kind of talking about something and someone goes, "Hey man, you forgot items." Everyone presses tab at the same time. Oh god damn it, man. Like I have to go back. And then the worst that you hear directly after that is minions have spawned, and it's like, no,
I'm late to lane.
I'm late to lane. Well,
and you know what
game's
the best part
over.
Is as well?
What's up?
With the recent changes to pings, you can't ping people's items to let them know that they forgot them. So if you're in solo queue, that's just Jover.
So that got changed, but that only works in party chat now. So they're gonna change the ping because they heard everybody being like, guys, I can't ping my teammates even if I'm a pre-made. Right? It was like, fine, we're just gonna make it so that it pings in party chat instead, which I still think just leave it alone. I like, people will need to behave, right? Like, let's just bring back the tribunal.
Oh, real. I honestly don't know that I played when the Tribunal existed, but
I played with the Tribunal. So for everybody who doesn't know, Tribunal used to be, you had to be a gold ranked player or higher, and then you got access to chat logs and some gameplay of a League of Legends game, of a ranked game, that people would report people, and you got to be part of a tribunal, a couple of players who voted as to whether or not this player should be punished. Now, this was a removed feature after a while, but when I started playing, the tribunal was still active, and I actually almost got into it. I was like, oh, I gotta start playing ranked, but I had to level my account, and by that time, Tribunal gets axed. We've got a game in front of us. Both junglers actually passing up to the top side.
That's what I heard, that you're
Yes.
so happy with trying to get people's account banned. Hold on.
100 ping warrior doing something that we typically tend to see Bel'Veth's doing, which is invading for the Raptor camp. Now, this is a little bit different. Everybody's coming on down. It's every single champion. It's a straight up gangster party coming down into this topside jungle. There's flashes everywhere. There's a scatter of the week going down. 100 ping warrior, who's going to get that first blood? Okay, it's going over to Mordekaiser. Selly flashes. Lucky has now gotten that entire stack of hemorrhage. Need to be so careful. Gets the heal now. Can they get to find this kill? Okay. Little Asia is also to fall here. Blue Valentine is going to be able to escape. It's a 2 for 2, and now we need to evaluate what were the ramifications of this. It's a hell of a lot of summoner spells gone, but we look at where the kills ended up going. Junior with 2 of them, and a little bit more spread out on Alaska Fairbanks.
Okay, so the pressure goes on to Jackie. Can he sustain now this 2-kill Mordekaiser?
Yeah.
Exactly the boost that you're looking for, honestly, with such a difficult matchup for the Mord. Junior gets a couple kills, gets to come back to laning phase with that blasting wand and a cloth armor as well. So, a little bit of extra boost to the Mordekaiser, and we'll have to see if that impacts their duels in that top lane at all. Do think that, importantly, both of them not able to TP, or going to TP back to this lane rather. Junior able to opt to go for just walking. Knows that he's got that time given Jackie's death, so another possibility that maybe the Mordekaiser takes a bad trade, can then teleport back to the lane and sort of save his laning phase again. Yeah? How's that? Ah, nice. Okay. You sound good. That's what I'm going to say. Objective. No, but listen. This was all planned. Junior saved TP for this exact reason. The full wave collected, where Jackie and 100 Ping Warrior split that full wave of experience. This is a win for the Mordekaiser. Yeah. This is a little scary, I will say. I'm going to have to wait and see quite how successful this hover is going to be. Nevertheless, for right now, Jackie playing with the respect necessary. Never mind. Okay, we just realised. So Alk knew that he was muted, but unfortunately we didn't quite get that message.
Okay.
And I'll be big vibes solo till I get the
We're
news.
Good. I restarted
Are you
VMix. Yes, I restarted VMix. It's because my mixer unplugged itself. VMix has to like redo it. I should be fine. Chatters.
Test 1, 2, 3.
Chatters. Let's get
He's
a 1 or
good.
2. Okay, awesome. So we missed a lot. There was some top lane action. What I wanted to focus on was Bel'Veth, top side of the map. They need to do a lot more in the top side if they want to get this Bel'Veth to really do anything.
Bel'Veth thrives when Bel'Veth gets Rift Herald. If you don't have topside control, getting Rift Herald, very, very difficult. So what does that mean? We focus the top lane, we play towards it.
And that is not currently happening right now.
No.
They are pathing towards the top side right now. You do see that Kha'Zix will be able to move their way as well if they actually want to try and find something, but focusing more on grabbing those items. I like how aggressively Dominguez Hill's bot lane has been trying to look for engages. We talk about it right now. They are always looking for something. With Bandai on this Recon, they're just trying to find grand entrances to, you know, maybe put Trapple and Like Bread on a little bit of an awkward tilt, saying, oh, could someone else be here? Could we try to get a summoner spell? We saw it in the first game, right? Level 2, they find that grand entrance. Trapple immediately flashes. Does not know that someone else is in that brush, and just does not want to take the risk.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, and this is the complete biggest tangent that I could possibly take us on right now, but we've got a little bit of time. Herald has been started on the top side, so I'll give that as a bit of a preface to anything that I may have to stop talking pretty quickly, but I like Bread, probably the best summoner name that I could think of, to be honest.
Well, I don't know. Agree to disagree. We'll put that in another beef category as to whether or not we can actually...
Now, it goes back to my... Okay, no, they're just going to fight again.
All right, we got Exhaust onto Nano Ben. They get that grand entrance, the flash as well. They do not want to lose vision. It's a trade, though. The Ashe is the one to get the kill, and Sona actually picking up the trade as well. So a bit in favor of the side of Dominguez Hills, but if they can crash this wave, they can then start to equalize some of that advantage as well. The first Herald going over to the side of the University of Alaska Fairbanks. That is not a good look if you're at Dominguez Hills.
Yeah, it may seem like just a small thing. Oh, one team secured Herald on the top side, but again, to reiterate, a large portion of Belveth's early game strengths come from taking a Rift Herald, being able to siege down one lane and try and destroy that if possible.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest, man. This Belveth champion kind of sucks with it. I'm going to be... This champion kind of is not great. It is very hard to find. Now, it does have one of your favorite mechanics, and I think something that you see doesn't get utilized as often. The little fishies, they did get nerfed this patch. So
good.
They're not as tanky. Those things needed to be nerfed so long ago. There's no reason for them to have that much HP as little minions. Just saying. Really annoying. But now without
you
a
would
Rift
just
Herald,
summon the Royal, like the Spanish Armada way back when, you know? Like, it was kind of crazy.
Dude, release Belveth was so dumb. And it still is kind of dumb, but like this champion was just not okay. UAF, though, with this Rift Herald, with them finding some plays throughout the top and the bottom side, this is going to get more and more problematic for the side of Dominguez Hills, because we've already seen the core of this composition work the same with Stelly, Nano Ben, and Bandai in that first game. We saw how they were kind of operating in a team fight, and Junior, while has less of a deficit than what we saw in the Urgot matchup, really I don't think has a very strong hold on what to do with Jackie, and unless we see Little Asia start to get a little bit fancy with their ganks, we're going to see more of the same. 100 Ping Warrior is going to have more agency to do what he wants, and Little Asia's going to be playing more reactionary. Jackie gets the flash. Junior, I mean, you're in the death realm. It's one last auto. I'm sorry. I did not know your game. I was not familiar with your game.
I told you, dude. Mordekaiser wins this matchup. I don't know what to tell you.
My bad.
Stats
don't matter. The numbers are cringe. You keep that. I like the magic.
Alternatively, Junior could have just been studying many a CB LoL VOD. You know what the good thing is as well is that I don't know the last time that Mordekaiser got played in CB LoL, yet it's just synonymous with the region.
Well, yeah, because it's, come to Brazil, you got the Mordekaiser.
Yeah, I know. Believe it or not, Alk, I'm familiar with why.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just letting you know, I'm letting the fans at home, in case they're unfamiliar with Mordekaiser from Brazil. There's a lot of ultimates coming out. There's also a lot of crowd control being laid down. Flash. Little Asia is here. Good never move from Trapple's going to end that one, and it's going to be Nano Ben falling down. Dragon is spawned up as well. They still have a ton of HP, so they're summoning the Rift Herald. They've now killed the bottom laner. They're going to crash this wave. Little Asia's going to be the one to pick this up, and now University of Alaska Fairbanks, they have so much to work with in terms of the map. It's more turret plates going over. Little Asia potentially going down here as well. The never move misses, but they just do absolutely no damage with the Sona. I wasn't sure. This would take a little bit of a deeper dive, but maybe that was actually, I like Bread using the damage reduction, the little mini exhaust that Sona has on her passive. That would have been an incredible use of the kit in that instance, but Rude, look at the map right now. It is not good for Dominguez Hills.
It's well, Yeah, you may have slightly taken the point. It is looking awful for Dominguez Hills, if we're completely honest. There's 2 Drakes that have already gone to Alaska Fairbanks. You get to see plates taken top, plates taken bot. Fortunately enough, nothing mid lane. And a quick little pick here from Stelly. Have to shout out the fact that they have been perfect, really, in these mid-game moments where just finding picks on 100 Ping Warrior, who our criticism of was that they just get a little bit aggressive, maybe, when they're not supposed to. And that's certainly there being an instance of that.
Hunter Warriors just got those real random mid-game deaths. They're just sort of like, yeah, I'm just gonna. You're not even. Everyone's like, some people are resetting. They're going back to base, and then it's, oh, I'm dead. Oh my bad.
That wasn't a totally illegal one. Brother was walking from the river where they'd just taken just taken a fight to their own jungle. It was like kind of bad because you didn't see the Syndra that the chance they could be there, but it's not one of the illegal ones that we can blame for, you know.
You can make all the excuses you want for 100 Ring Warrior. I'll let them know that you need to sign their their mouse pad. Oh, we sent out the ultimates. That's kind of what this Ashe is supposed to do, right? We use the Hawk Shot. We try to use the Enchanted Crystal Arrow to get damage down, but Trapple, he enters that Demonic Ascension and kind of, you know, negates a ton of the damage, and now Little Asia walking into their own jungle can't actually do anything. I was going to talk about how there's a small lead here for Little Asia, but already has the Eclipse, already has the Lucidity Boots as well. Trapple trying to find this kill on the Bandai, and NanoBen trying to hit the 1v2, trying to hit that lick, trying to find their kills. It is all about vision. They're out of range, and now they swap sides. You're on the wrong side of the lane for both of them, but look at how much healing. We talked about how important Sona was going to be. It's an engage from Bandai, and a few HP are going to start trickling away. I Like Bread, can you find one more? Yeah, there we go. They've got the trade. There's also stuff happening in the top side of the map. It is a 2-for-2 trade, but it is UAF winning out on that top side while their bottom lane, hey, NanoBen is winning, but at what cost?
Yeah, I mean, we saw this last game. The Ashe can get as ahead as they like. This is still Ashe versus Darius and Kha'Zix. Very difficult late game situation for an Ashe to try and play out. We saw the Jackie really rocket to success last game just off of a couple of ganks, and with first break likely to fall here as well, would be no surprise to see that happen again.
Oh, wait a minute. Little Asia actually just
that was 1 Q, by the way.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. All right, we've now used the damage reduction. You tried to go into the Royal Maelstrom, and it just wasn't enough. But I think a pretty good win if you're on the side of Dominguez Hills. You did lose your turret, but you also got the flash out from Jackie. Now Junior doesn't have ultimate, so how much are you going to be able to actually get out of this? There's no flash. Ultimate is coming up for 100 Ping Warrior, and the entire squad is starting to rock up. They bail out their jungler at the very last minute, and in terms of recalls, in terms of what they're able to gain, Dominguez Hills, I think, gains so much across the map for this play.
Yeah, gold is dead even right now. It's worth looking at it because we see a Drake fight potentially happening in the next 2 minutes. Another fight bot lane, but here comes Demonic Ascension.
All right, he's cooking. They're putting him in the slow cooker, but I just don't think he's chefing at all. I mean, Trapple's just going to fall. The Kraken Slayer, not even done this time. NanoBen actually changed up the build. He changed up the spices that he was going to go for, and went for the Blade of the Ruined King instead of the Kraken Slayer like we saw in the first game, and now is able to find that win. Trapple is not as dominant or not as even as he was in that first game, and UAF, all of their gold is yet again in the top side, but not as dominant as that first game here in the series. We'll see what they can do. Jackie's now made his way into the bottom side.
Oh dear, this is going to be a swift one-tap here for Jackie. 600 gold goes their way, but Little Asia, not to be outdone, finds a play down on that top side and taking down 100 Ping Warrior for the 3rd time this game. We'll have to see if there's more gold to be found on the bot side here for UAF. The Jackie finding that kill and takes this turret. That's 2 now for the Darius.
Exactly. A lot of gold there as well. Little Asia in the empowered form for Bel'Veth. It's not quite the Rift Herald form, but got to be feeling good. I mean, they can just ignore Swain at this point, just take the turret, use the amount of attack speed this champion has as a pretty disgusting steroid, and now they'll be able to reset. They will be late for this dragon, and while we haven't talked about it too much, they've kind of been happening as we've gotten more and more action. University of Alaska Fairbanks are very close to putting themselves at Soul Point, which is worrisome, especially since we do have this Infernal Soul.
Yeah, and importantly, right, the super fed Darius is there and ready to try and take control over that bot side of the Rift. 100 Ping Warrior also makes his way out of base from that death. Straight to the Dragon, starts it up on spawn as Evolved Claw's going to take this down exceptionally quickly. Now with Little Asia coming, we're feeling the starts of a really big team fight here. All 10 members in the bot side of the jungle.
Now, there's no Sona ult here, so we need to be able to watch. Look at this engage Bandai with 3 members charmed up in the quickness. And now they're just trying to find a single kill. That's the start. That's the first reset here for Little Asia. They're even able to find the Jackie as well. So, I mean, Little Asia can just keep resetting, keep getting kills. It's going to be Blue Valentine finally with the ultimate, but it is NanoBen as well who's just opening up on this fight. And the entirety of UAF Fall this time around. It's the first time we've really been able to say that all series long. Dominguez Hills are able to plant their feet, start a fight, and they grab the Dragon as well.
Power of this Mordekaiser really showcased there in that team fight. Yes, there's this super fed Darius coming out of the top lane. Well, simple enough job. Just send him to the death realm and he can't impart all of that damage to the rest of the team. Bonus here for Juniors, the fact that he actually wins the 1v1.
Yeah. Oh my god. Well, Selly is getting, maybe some payback. Ping Warrior has the ultimate coming up. Wow, even gets away. So Selly says, look, all the random deaths, all the random ISO deaths, that's going to be for your 100 Ping Warrior. I, myself, am just going to get away. Even keeps up the flash. Jackie now, maybe in a little bit of a top laner's predicament, saying, I have to just run at them. I don't care if Ashe can try to, try to kite me out. Kiting is for nerds. I'm going to get myself a kill, and that is going to be them starting to pick up some more gold, but really, we need to start to see that turn into more actionable things across the map, and we need to start taking down turrets.
Flash away from Trapple, so this Swain continuing to find themselves in less than ideal situations, let's say. Not going to have that safety tool in the next team fight if we happen to see one. Remember, Rift Herald not really going to be any more part of the game, actually. Looks like Baron's the next objective to spawn in that pit, but could very well be a concern sitting in this mid lane with no mid-tier, 1 turret, 1 Scatter the Weak lands. If there's an Enchanted Crystal Arrow as well coming from downtown, you don't really have a way to prevent yourself getting hit by it outside of just really fast reactions on a dodge.
Rude, I found the last time that Mordekaiser was played in CBLOL.
2021.
It was 2022. CBLOL Split 2. INTZ versus Liberty. Dawn versus a Sejuani top.
That makes sense. That's a banger mode match.
And actually, the very next Mordekaiser game was Skybart in CBLOL Academy. Liberty versus PNG. Or Pain.
Yeah, they are the same. Yeah.
Yes. So they almost got it. They almost got like the overlap of both teams. They have 2 Liberties back there, so hey,
Liberty coaches now made their way over to Dominguez Hills, I think.
Yes, of course. That is the
natural
really
career progression.
Yes, it's only one step up. Like you got to keep climbing the ladder. And if NECC Fall West Conference is your way up, we take those. That's a win. That's a win in my book.
Absolutely. No further comment. I'm quite happy with that as analysis, and we can take that through. I want to quickly highlight the potential for Dominguez Hills to find their first win. Period in this Challengers conference. They've struggled so far throughout week 1 and week 2, but certainly in a winning position here. 3k gold lead. They've got decent scaling as the game gets later. Stelly has been playing fairly well on this Syndrome. May well get caught. Oh, JK.
Oh, nice. Good use of the stopwatch. Stelly now flashes, and it is the entirety of the team trying to collapse. 100 Ping Warrior, really good slows as part of one of those things you can do on Kha'Zix where you're just maxing your W and being as annoying as possible. A flash, Sona engage. They said, hey, this might be an enchanter. I'm going to basically play this like an empowered version of Alistar at this point. They're trying to find a single kill. It's going to be onto Little Asia. And remember, that Baron is up. Most of their members are here. Jackie's actually rotated from the bottom side of the map to this top side. And maybe we counted our chickens a little too early. It is going to be the Baron started here. There's no jungler for them to be able to answer. Stelly's in no position. I mean, NanoBen is just catching this mid-wave. And Alaska Fairbanks may have found a way back into this game. Of course, this is still incredibly even, but you have to think with a Baron in their back pocket, they're going to be able to use this to push. And then we've got Dragon in a minute. Stelly? Oh, 7 salute. 650 gold going over to 100 Ping Warrior.
Respect. Sometimes you just gotta you got to try and steal the Barons, you know? Your jungler's not there. Who else is going to do it other than a Syndra? I respect the effort there from Selly, unfortunately. Was not meant to be. End up finding a death column tally instead. And now for UAF, maybe we get to see them right that ship and turn this series to the 2-0 that they would have certainly been hoping for coming into game number 2. Baron on all 5 members. Get to see what their mid-game, what their late game starts to look like when they've got this lead, when they've got this advantage. What can they do with it?
You know, I've stopped caring about Baron steals as much. I might have to hold this as juniors in a bit of a weird spot, but I've stopped, you know, really caring about Baron steals because, honestly, if you get the Baron steal, the whole call is laughing. Like, the whole call is just, like, losing their minds. Maybe in a competitive game, maybe you should care a little bit more than me about a single Baron steal, but, you know, if you're there, I think the general good it does for society, the amount of humans that are happy when you win or you make amazing Baron steal, it's a little bit higher than 0. And so now, Dominguez Hill's trying to find engage, but that is now no Ashe ultimate available for them. Nothing for them to actually start at the fight. It's going to be all eyes on Stelly and Bandai. These two with the best crowd control on their team available to them. And they're kind of just playing front to back. Everybody has vision of everybody else. Stelly just now is going to crest this side and join the rest of the team. And in terms of wave states, everything's kind of even for the most part. They just need to be able to fish for cooldowns between these two.
And we have Sona time as well, so all this poke from Dominguez Hill's not going to quite stick as much. Fortunate thing is that poke on the other side not really relevant.
Oh, Trapple got caught. It was a E coming out from Junior. The slow is not enough, but this Event Horizon, look at the amount of space it is buying. Junior just trying to find the execute. It is full Conqueror stacks, full bleed stacks, and Blue Valentine finding the kills. The heals just do not matter at this point. A double kill coming over for Blue Valentine. They'll be able to finish off Junior as well. And it feels like dreams being crushed, like the small inklings of hope for Dominguez Hills are just slowly drifting away. As Alaska Fairbanks, they finally collected themselves. They finally said, okay, that's enough trolling. That's enough of us kind of messing around. Let's close out this game and let's put us at 4-0 on week 2.
That was so close as well. Dominguez Hills came about as close as they could have done for the duration of that team fight. And again, the Mordekaiser ulti working overtime, keeping Jackie at bay. But as soon as they pop out of that Death Realm, they come out in the midst of 4 people and it looks like they're going to go down, but the Decimate heal is just too strong. People stand a little too close to the Darius. There's a stun here. I think there's probably going to be a walkout angle. And Blue Valentine may well have used that barrier a little preemptively.
Just thought, hey, gotta block some damage. I agree, a bit premature, but barrier's a low cooldown. We can cope. Here for the side of Dominguez Hills, we need to start looking at angles to get back into this game because the gold is only going to get wider and wider in terms of what you're actually able to get. And as lanes become longer, missing stuff like the flash or not being able to actually answer when enemy jungle are invading for your camps becomes very difficult. So for the side of Dominguez Hills, what are we expecting? Are we going to try and look for another, front-to-back team fight like we have just saw?
So if I'm Dominguez Hills, what we're going to look for is Ashe Arrows on cooldown. We have Syndra, group around, because in full fairness to Stelly, they are very strong and probably the best way to get an advantage, really, or try and find anything on their side. Looks like they're playing to this Mord. Rylai's can keep Jackie slowed.
Alright. Need to be careful as well because Bandai is here and available. Doesn't even matter. You talked about the Ashe being on cooldown. What can they get on the top side of the map as well? They're trying to push this in. They've also got the mid wave that they can push. So for the side of Dominguez Hills, they've now gotten the single kill. They've had to invest 3 members. Nanoban actually fell in the mid lane at the same time. So it's kind of a Pyrrhic victory at that. You won, but at what cost? And Alaska Fairbanks, they're saying, hey, we're totally content, pushing, keeping our gold lead. Still have 3 minutes. Sally's got to be careful. It's a teleport coming in. Can they kind of pinch them beneath these 2 turrets? I mean, 100 ping warrior, wow, really good use of the invisibility, but not quite enough to shut down going over to Little Asia. They'll be able to grab themselves as well. The reset from the ultimate. Dominguez Hill finding some reprieve as they exit the jungle.
Yeah, really big shutdown actually there for Little Asia. Didn't quite catch the full tally, but at least 800 gold there going into the Bel'Veth's back pocket. 3 items for the Kazakhs, though, certainly quite the daunting threat trying to take that down. No Wit's End finished just yet for Little Asia. Would have liked to see that get picked up with the extra movement speed from the half-bound axe. Going to be working quite nicely, though, to pair with that Stride Breaker and keep that move speed differential about as high as possible.
Oh, we're just using every single summoner spell. Okay, maybe this Bel'Veth champion is alive and well. Welcome to the Void. Trapple gets taken down. That's Ghost, that's Cleanse, that's Flash. It's also the double sums of Like Bread. The Baron is spawning, so hey, this game is just getting closer and closer. Again, for the side of California State, they want to find their first win. They were 0-2 in the first week. Alaska Fairbanks, they 2-0'd Fresno, and they're going to be looking to try to come back into this game. There's no way for them to respond. 100 Ping Warrior trying to get into this river, and Jackie is all the way in no man's land.
No crescendo here, so I Like Bread simply a heal bot.
All right. They're a really good stun, and they're just getting whittled away. They thought they lost a member. Well, guess what? The Baron is going to add on to that. Little Asia gets taken down. Great stuff from Blue Valentine, but 100 Ping Warrior is getting clapped right now by this dragon, or by this Baron. The Sona is just spamming abilities, every single, like, just hand fist right on through the keyboard, be able to save their jungler. It's another Baron going to the side of Alaska Fairbanks, and it just feels like arrows straight through the heart for Dominguez Hills, for Little Asia in particular, because if they were able to grab that Baron, not only is that just gold in your back pocket to try to equalize the lead, that is a Baron. That is the first time we will be seeing the super empowered Bel'Veth form this entire game.
Yeah, and unfortunately not quite able to collect on it. Again, starts with one pick leading to what we thought was going to be a Baron for Dominguez Hills. They find Trapple in the mid lane. Unfortunately, they opted for the turn, weren't quite synchronized on it, didn't quite have the full range of tools that they need. Quickness not ready there, or the Enchanted Crystal Arrow either. Wasn't quite ready to turn around. Oh, 100 Ping Warrior fancies himself a blue buff. He's actually going to be able to find it as a TP comes in from Stelly.
Oh, but big this Ash ultimate, it does nothing. It was a very small Ash arrow, and we talked about, hey, whoa, Jackie, and then they swap places right there. Okay, there was no summoner spell. There was just a bit of a Mordekaiser pull. And
yeah.
Now, I mean, Dominguez Hills, what do? They've got no tools to actually get into this. It's going to be the soul given over. They're getting caught waffling between two different options. Do we want to fight? Do we want to back off? And instead, they get neither. They get neither a kill, neither the actual soul here. And I misspoke. It wasn't actually the Infernal Soul. It's a Chemtech. I should have known that because I can just look at all the map pieces. And you know what, actually? This is a callback to the beginning of the show. We thought that the Rift was going to be broken. It looks perfectly fine for now.
Nobody go play solo queue or norms. Don't break the illusion. This patch is fine. Smile.
Yeah, there's a few buffs. Okay. Yeah, I mean, they've got the Baron. Oh, wait. We're cooking. We're cooking. Jackie, are we actually doing this? The minion is just wailing away on the turret, and Blue Valentine, he gets taken down in the mid lane, but I just don't know how much this mattered. No, look at how much damage 100 Ping Warrior does right now. No. Boom! One shot onto Little Asia. He's gone at this point. Junior now has the ultimate. 100 Ping Warrior doesn't matter. He just doesn't care. He has 100 ping. Guess what? You've got 0 HP. It's going to be the inhibitor turret falling. The inhibitor next to go. 31 minutes. They still have Baron in their back pocket, and they're just pushing on two different waves.
30 seconds still with the Baron at their backs. Sona again absolutely thrives in these situations. Can just top off the team as best as possible. That tier as well, really getting some good value here. 2 cannon minions wailing away on these Nexus turrets. They don't even have to walk up to these turrets to die. That's number 3, baby. And look at, nobody's hitting this Nexus turret from UAF. Just these minions are working so hard.
Oh my god, it's the cannons with the glizzies. They're just firing away, man. They've got the Baron empowerment. There's nothing for them to do. Alaska Fairbanks, they're going to say, okay, we've raised your turrets. We've raised your base at this point. That was like 3 to 4 turrets taken in a single swoop. We also got ourselves 2 inhibitors. Let's back off. Let's go collect our gold. Let's spend our gold, turn it into items, turn it into a real advantage. And let's close out this game. We've got ourselves the Soul. Baron is spawning at 2.5 minutes. Elder in 4. And unfortunate here for Dominguez Hills, but UAF are just continuing to kind of show a lot of resolve throughout this second game.
Yeah, that first win certainly looking rather elusive here for Dominguez Hills. And Really good stuff from UAF to say we can go back. We've got time on our side with this soul. We should just win every single fight that's given to us. We should be able to go up to this top side. For me in this situation, if I'm playing this game again, I've got 2 inhibitors down. The game plays itself. I don't need Baron. I don't need Elder. I can just walk to that top side of the Rift, use the 2 waves of pushing super minions in that bot lane, in that mid lane, to create a extra pressure point. And when we have 5 people on that top side, somewhere has to get answered. Either you lose the base and try and take a 5v5, or you send a member back to defend the super minions, and then there's a fight to be taken on uneven numbers.
Well, I have great news for you here. Right now, it is a weird situation where they're trying to do a 4-1. Jackie's sitting in mid lane. There's no event horizon, but there's the Ashe ultimate. That's what I wanted to try to call focus to, because we talked about, hey, the only way they're winning is if they can find a pick, but it just doesn't seem like Jackie is going to be that guy for them. Demonic Ascension, it's the crescendo landing as well. Every single member of Dominguez Hill is just trying to escape, trying to do something, trying to find a way out of this game. And for UAF, the only way is out is through, and it's going to be through the Nexus of Dominguez Hills. It's going to be through this second game. Jackie may have not had that same advantage, but it's just kill after kill, and now University of Alaska Fairbanks, they find themselves in a 2-0, going 4-0 here in NECC Fall. We're in the West Conference, and that game was much longer than the first game, but
yeah,
it still felt pretty dominant.
Similar tropes for sure. Again, that early game felt fairly even. There was even a point where we actually got to see Dominguez Hills 3k gold up, but then one pick led into a Baron, led into UAF recognizing exactly what they needed to do to get themselves back into the game. Once they had that small advantage, were more than happy to run an absolute marathon with it. Really great performance, got themselves 2 inhibs, didn't overextend, didn't overstay their welcome again, got back to base, spent all that gold, used the full might of a 6k gold lead and closed out that game really well.
It was a really good spot, and what I liked, what we saw from Alaska Fairbanks, is their ability to actually play from behind. A lot of teams, they will feel very confident. They'll come into a game 2, and they'll stumble. It happens. No player is perfect. No team is perfect. And so they'll stumble, fall apart, and then we get into a game 3 situation. But, hey, that game was kept close. It was a great shot from Dominguez Hills. I think there are some promising pieces there. And, again, we are at the beginning of the season. This is only week 2. They have plenty of games to still go on through. They have plenty of best of 3s that they can still play and try to refine their style, because there are some glimmers of hope there.
Certainly, and you know, when you get 3k gold lead, that doesn't come from nowhere. Came from them taking really good fights. You know, there was one around that dragon that they 5 for 2, I think, sort of really destroyed UAF at in that mid game. It comes from these improvements, learning how did we end up losing that gold lead? What was the mistake that made us fall behind? In this case, it was a pick. Okay, so what do? We go back, we say, okay, how do I not get picked there? Is it I stayed 1 wave too many? Is it we made a call that we couldn't execute on? All of these things that they can do, they can go away in the interim. They've got a week now to reset for week number 3, and they can have themselves, hopefully, a better showing next week, because I think a win for this team seems inevitable, really.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like this is one of those doomer bottom of the barrel teams where you're like, all right, guys, we're hoping
free win to be collected. Yeah,
the free win every single week. It happens sometimes, but I don't think that's there for Dominguez Hills. I think there's a lot of promise there, and for the side of University of Alaska Fairbanks, there is a lot of great things that we talk about, right? 100 Ping Warrior was doing really well. We talked about how their bottom lane, I think the different styles that we've kind of seen, the Swain takeaway is very, very interesting. And Jackie all by themselves was dominating a couple of leads in some of those spots. So really interesting stuff to see. Rood, it's been a pleasure having you on board. It's, we've been having a lot of fun here. Is there anything you want to say before we close out the show?
No, just shout out again to NECC for making these leagues possible for everybody, because again, this type of developmental talent, exactly how we get better players in better tournaments in the future for North America. So shout out to the NECC for both putting on the tournaments and for having us on at short notice as well.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously, like we were saying, I think every tier of league and ranked deserves some kind of competitive tournament. People like to compete. Give them a fun spectacle. Give them a great cast as well. It's always part of the broadcast, being able to be like, oh, dude, look at this cool clip. Casters losing their mind over my, Darius play. It's awesome to see. Thank you again to NECC. Thank you to all our production staff. And for the entire stream, thank you to students who are able to play in all these events, staff, managers, the whole And, hey, you guys be nice to each other. Everyone be good. Be nice to one another. And when we were back, hey, we're going to have another show. NECC will be back. We've got plenty of other games. You all have a good night.